it's like sitting down and just chopping it up with people is the best thing. It's my favorite thing. And I think back to even when I was like in high school, we get together, whether you drink, whether you don't drink, whether you're sitting around and smoking, whatever it is, chopping it up is the best thing.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Welcome to another episode of Young and Gifted, the podcast where we talk to young and gifted individuals and we get to pick their brains a little bit about the stuff that they've been through in hopes that it could help some of you out there. Today we have a special guest. We have Sean in the building. So how you pronounce your last name? Fennell?
Yeah, it's Fennell. Yeah.
Okay. That's making sure. I was just scared that it was something French with a...
No, everybody always says Fennell.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm some kind of spice, right? But
yeah. No, yeah. So today we have Sean Fennell. He's a mortgage agent. And today we just want to talk a little bit about financial literacy and credit, just about his story and how he got to this position and stuff. So yeah, so today we have Sean.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, for sure. Good.
Let's chop it up.
Thanks for making time. I know we started a bit late tonight. We had a few delays from kids taking too long to go to sleep to Tim Hortons being closed. But thanks for giving us the time, and can't wait to hear your story.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. I mean, it's a good thing, exposure for everybody. Talk about some literacy and, get some messages out there for everybody, really. So I'm good with it.
Yeah. So, are you from London?
Yeah, I was born in Toronto. Came here when I was like 3. Been here my whole life. So.
And what's your background?
Jamaican, Lebanese grandpa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Jamaica. Grandpa's Lebanese, so
that's
got
good.
The mix up.
Yeah. And you've been in London ever since?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and were you always doing like mortgages? You should if you was to give like a backstory on who you are and how you get into where you are now. Because I know earlier we were talking about the fact that you saw that there was an issue with financial literacy and Black people, and it's something that you really wanted to address. And it's something that that I feel like you try to pursue to try to make better. Yes, if we could talk a little bit how that came along and that kind of stuff.
I mean, I was with TD Bank for years, big financial company. I worked there for like 20 years, did a lot of things there. Got to see did a lot of unsecured credit. So whether it be applications or whether it was doing mortgage renewals. So when your mortgage is coming up for renewal, I was doing that role. It was something that got me to where I am now, got me to know that this is what I wanted to do, but it's not something where I was 100% happy at the end of things. So I decided to go into this role because, I can help people. I can help people get a house. I can help people get to the point where, okay, I think I'm ready, or we can just talk about it. That education there. And as far as what we talked about, though, is true. I mean, I'm noticing it even more now as far as Black folks and just people that are not from the Anglo-Saxon way of life. I mean, I get the phone calls and people just don't know what credit is. They don't know what they have to do to even start to get a mortgage or to even save or what products are out there. So a lot of educating is what I've been doing, which is fine. I enjoy it. Like it's one of the best parts of what I do because I know that's going to come full circle, right? The karma from that's going to come back. So I don't really know why it's like that. We can get in. That's a whole nother hour we could probably figure out. But
yeah, because I feel like even like when I just came to Canada, I think like for immigrants, I can't speak for all immigrants. I can speak for me, but I know like when I just came to Canada, I didn't understand credit at all because it's not something that we had to think about back home. At least not something I had to think about back home. Like understanding like paying everything on time. To me, it was like, oh, once I get paid. And I didn't think about the 30% rule when it comes to a credit card and that kind of stuff. And most people even say 50% now with the way interest rates going and that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You need to be on top of those things. Hold on. You record an audio, right? Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. Yeah. yeah, just understanding like, well, with the way interest, just understanding
How much
the
to put down?
yeah, like the and the importance of paying everything on time,
Yeah.
and how serious that matter is and how it could affect your life.
Yeah.
I remember for the first 5 years of me being in Canada, I didn't even do my taxes because I didn't understand
Yeah.
these things, right? And then when I went to do them, my tax guy was like, "Yo, this can never happen again." But at that time, I didn't understand. I was 21. I just came to a new country from being in a country where stuff was way different. To come into this, it was a culture shock, and I feel like it happens a lot with immigrants, right? And that's where
does.
the problem kind of starts. So for me, I'm just starting to get into the financial literacy and understanding money, and not only understanding money, but understanding that money is something that is meant to be used. It was created by people to use and not to keep. And when I say keep, I don't mean save. You could save your money. I mean to keep as like a prisoner type of thing. Like it shouldn't just be sitting in your bank doing nothing, right?
Yeah, you could do so many things with it, right? And it's the education piece, and that's because my parents were the same way. They didn't know, right? They come to this country in the 70s. It wasn't really a taught thing until you get into whatever line of work you go to. So if you're lucky enough where it coincides into the financial industry, you learn these types of things, right? Whether your work has something set up for you or not, or you just start hearing friends. It's always been throw it under your mattress type thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not the only thing that you need to get a house, or that's not the only thing you need to get credit. And that's the hard part. So the education piece is very important. And, I've been doing it a lot, which is, it can be tedious, but it's great at the same time.
So. Yeah. So for you now, when you looking, so let's go back a little bit. So when you were younger, 18 and stuff, right? Did you go to college? Did you go to school?
I did 2 years of college. Then it wasn't for me. So I left, went right into working at the bank when I was like 21, 22, probably 22. And then I was fortunate enough just to get a job, and it was with the bank.
Yeah.
So I started doing collections. So for me, that's what educated me about making payments on time and the importance of it. What happens if you don't make payments? And then I started learning about banking products a little bit from there. And then I jumped into other roles there. So I didn't go to school for this, and you don't really have to. It's, I always paid attention to the news and what was around me.
Yeah.
I grew up with hip hop culture, like listening to hip hop and watching, spending money and all this kind of stuff. But then you start to hear those guys talk about what they do with their money as you grow up, right?
Yeah.
So even some of that gave me some, I need to think about that as financial literacy. It's an important thing that we got to teach everybody.
Yeah. And I feel like that's why I was saying that I feel like Jay-Z is one of my favorite rappers because of how he talks about that kind of stuff. So when you went to school, what did you go to school for?
I went to school. I did like the sociology. I did like a little bit of psychology. I did like general business.
Oh, so you went to Western?
No, I went to Fanshawe or whatever. Yeah, I went to Fanshawe and just did the general layer courses.
Yeah, general arts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
and then
that was a long time ago.
yeah, and I mean, like, I feel like in terms of figuring out financial literacy, the best place anybody could work is in collections because you see it happen to people every day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
Like I was watching something and they said that the bank makes over $2 billion a year just on
Like recovered debt, probably.
no, what's the late payments? NSF fees,
Yeah, non-sufficient funds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. So that they make $2 billion a year just on people who can't afford to pay.
Yeah, and then you end up calling those people, and that funds it's just a cycle, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So for your kids and stuff, for your son, because your son is how old now? 18? 16. Right? For your son, when you try to educate him about money and that kind of stuff, how does he take it? Like do you think it's something that he understands?
He responds well because he's seen it, right? Like his mother also was in finances as far as working at a bank. And so he still gets that, and he gets it from me, and he sees what I'm doing. And he's old enough that in the last year I could have a conversation and say, hey, this is what I'm doing for work. yeah, there's a hustle to it, which these young kids like. I mean, you're either built for it or you're not.
Yeah.
But he learns that part of it, and then you teach him about, okay, what do you need to do, and then you start speaking to them about what are you interested in. And I know with him, he's interested in like learning about like stocks and trading, and I said learn about the economy, like just learn about that even just a little bit, because I'm not that well versed on it, but just paying attention to the news every day and everything else, it's important, you know.
Yeah.
So he's receiving it well.
So it's funny. 1 second. So one of the things that I say all the time is, so I started doing stocks 3 years ago. The same mortgage, the same taxes guy that we had. He was talking to me about stocks and that kind of stuff. And again, it was at first it was like me being like, "Ain't no way you can make money on your phone," because that's not our reality growing up. So then eventually when COVID hit, I was like, you know what, let me try this stock market stuff. And I started with $500, right? He told me start with 500. Mm-hmm. Everyone else was like, you should just start with anything, 50. But he was like, yo, Vaughan, just wait for 500 because at least you could do something, you know? If at 50, if it goes up a little bit, you don't make that much, right? Yeah. So with $500, with that $500, I was able to grow a decent amount. Like I bought all my camera equipment and that kind of stuff with stock market money. Yeah. And the biggest thing about it is that most people don't even know that it's something that I didn't even I would watch videos and try to learn about it. And then I would tell myself, these people don't know what they're talking about. Like, no one knows.
Until you do it.
Yeah, I know that. Like, no one knows what actually going to happen with a company. All you could do is go based on speculation, right? So, honestly, I was a risky person back in those days. And I was like, you know what? If I lose 500, I lose 500. And then it was, you know what? If I lose 10,000, I lose 10,000. And then it was, if I lose 20 grand, I lose 20 grand. And then I did lose the 20 grand. And I was like, shit, I should have stayed. I should have kept my 20 grand.
Right.
You know? And then I was like, you know what? That's when I cashed out. And I was like, you know what? Let me buy my camera equipment. So at least I put money in the dirt.
Yeah, you got something.
Know? And then I only started back doing stocks this week. Mm-hmm. And watching different trends and that kind of stuff is something that I wish everyone would start doing. So even if it's a little bit.
Just get interested in what's going on around you, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants money. Just get interested in what money touches. Like, it touches everything. So, like, in terms of what you're going to do with it, do you want to save it? Do you want to grow it? Do you want to take some risks and do something with it? Whatever it may be. But what I do is, you know, I have to kind of help people funnel what they're going to do with it so that they can get to that big thing. A house is your biggest purchase you're going to have in your life. It's your biggest thing you'll ever probably purchase, right? And then you get to a level where maybe you're purchasing a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
So you got to know what it takes. Everybody, I feel like there's a perception of has to be this interest rate, and then it has to be I need this much money in the bank. Well, yes, there's percentages that you need, but just do your research first, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we waste so much money on rent right now. It's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah, but I mean, would. As I say, I don't really understand it, you know, as much as I should. But like, even with like when you think about like when you hear people talk about the interest rates and you hear so many owners crying and that kind of stuff now, you know, for me, because I remember when I was into, and I was gonna be like, you know, I want to get a house. That was like last year, and then the market crashed. That's when the market crashed. And I was like, you know what? I need to keep my money. And that's when I buy the camera equipment, right? So in terms of the interest rates and that kind of stuff, is it a good time to buy now? Like.
I mean, put it this way. If you have, it doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're buying rentals, if you're whatever you want to do. If you have enough money put away in a bank account, under your mattress, whatever, if you have family that's going to help you, whatever it is, if you have some money where you know that it's enough for, say, a down payment for how much you want to buy a house for, and you have some kind of solid income that you know you've had, it's not the end all, but I'm going to say like 2 years worth, like straight 2 years proven income, that's the best thing you can do. So why would you pay, what is it, like $2,800 in rent.
Yeah, rents is crazy now.
Rents is wild right now.
Rents is crazy.
Like I understand because I've been there, and it's hard to pay rent and it's hard to save, right? So then that's where I'm also helping people with budgeting and things like that. But what I'm trying to say is if you have money for a down payment and you have solid income and you know what you want, interest rates aren't going to affect it in any way because, you know, we can do, if you have an interest rate, I'll give you an example. If you have an interest rate of like 6.10%, let's just say, or I can get you an interest rate of 5.4 or 5.5, depending on how large the mortgage is that you want, you know, whether it's 190 or 500,000 or a million, get us to do the math for you on what the difference in the payment is. Because at the end of the day, to the person with the mortgage, it's how much am I paying, right? And then from there, you get into a comfort level of how much is going to interest and how much is paying down the money you borrowed, so your principal. A lot of the times, it's not that much different. I had a situation last week where it was like that. And, you know, a difference of literally those rates I just told you. And for getting them approved, they would have had to put down thousands of dollars more to get the lower rate, where I could have got them approved at the higher rate. And I did. And I did the math for them. Of course, it's all on a screen for me. I don't do it in my head. And I said, look, it's about $80 difference every 2 weeks or every month, whatever it was. So at the end of the day, get in, get a home, get that equity. So I say if you have the down payment, like again, if you have the income, if you have the credit history especially, or if your credit history may not be perfect, but it's okay, it's a little bit stretched, whatever the situation is, then why not put it into the equity of a house? Because you pay all these closing fees and legal fees and everything else. Yes, that could be upwards of $5,000 to $6,000 on top of the mortgage. Yes, but we can incorporate that for you, and you're getting equity in your house out of it. So you can either keep paying rent at $2,800 a month, whatever it is, or you can pay a mortgage that's $2,900 a month, and you're paying down principal, and you own that equity.
Yeah.
Right? It's little things like that, and I would say so. It's a good time to buy if you're ready, but it's different for everybody. You're also going through a lot of bidding wars when you have the lower interest rates, like with the COVID rates 3 years ago, 3 years ago. Those interest rates, 1.9, this and that, it was great. But if you think about anybody that you guys might know that bought a house, then they probably had hundreds of people bidding. It was like stress. Am I going to get it? Oh, let's change the bid. Literally. Where now you're not going to run into that as much because a lot of people are being scared off by interest rates. So, I mean, end of the day, they say marry the house, right? Divorce the rent, and date the rate.
Yeah.
Because the rate's going to change all the time.
I remember back in those COVID days, people was getting like 100,000 over asking, and that kind of thing was crazy.
And a lot of people can't afford their houses because the value of the houses have come closer to what they actually are now. So it's a tough time for sure. Like everybody's struggling, like, you know, we all are with the way that it is. But historically, go back, like do a little bit of research, go back 10 plus years even. The interest rates, they're not, there's actually room. I don't want it to, there's room that it could go up even more. But yeah, as far as the best time, it depends on the person.
So what about variable? Is a variable mortgage and fixed mortgage?
Fixed mortgage, yeah.
Yeah.
Fixed rates, yeah.
Yeah. If you could explain that to people.
So fixed rate is the rate that you get when you get your mortgage contract and you go in your term, whether it's be, let's just say 1 to 5 years. If you get 5%, that's your rate for 5 years. 5%. You don't have to worry about it. It's safe. That's where it's going to sit. Some people in fixed, they start getting the FOMO because 2-3 years in, they're seeing the rates go up or down. If it goes down, they're thinking, oh, should I break it? But if you break it, there's a penalty, which is totally something that can be navigated. But, you know, it's a fact that I think I'm going to give a number. I think it's between 50 and 60% of people break their 5-year term 3 years in or halfway through, right? And that's just people's lives, whether you get a divorce, you know, your job change, you have to move, whatever it is. Variable will go based on Bank of Canada and the prime rate of the lender that you have. So if the Bank of Canada increases its rates like it did yesterday, then if you're in a variable, chances are that your lenders are going to increase whatever interest rate you have. If it's 5%, it's going up to 5.25, right? And you just got to watch and decide when. Now, what the good thing about variable is you can still call your institution and say, hey, I see that I'm at 5.25 now because everything went up. Please lock me in. That's what I want for the rest of my 3 years or 5-year term. What's better depends on the person, right? That's when you go to the bank, or you come
So it's like a gamble.
or you come to a mortgage agent, you say, okay, what are my payments? And then we can say, okay, these are what your payments will be if you were at 5%. Oh, if you're on a variable, it gets up to 8%. We'll tell you what the payment will be. Can you afford that? Yeah, then you take the risk that way. You have to qualify 2% over right now anyways. So, I mean, I would say fixed is probably the safe bet. Fixed is what most people do. It's a safe way to go, right? And just don't get all antsy if you see the rates start to go down while you're in your fixed rate. Just know you have that security.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. So, okay. And what about, and when you think about buying houses to live in, rather than buying houses as a means to be like, I'm gonna live in this house for the next 2 years and then rent it out, or sell or flip or refinance and flip, or
You can refinance to do the flip or to rent it out, right? So I mean,
because this is our next issue that I think happens a lot with black people is black people like to leave things for the other generation to hold on to. It's like, oh, I work my whole life to buy this house.
Yeah.
You can't sell this house.
Yeah.
But the house ain't worth nothing if others live in it.
Yeah.
Like the only time we could actually get what you work for is if we sell it. If we live in it, we can't get nothing.
Yeah.
Or we be tied down to living.
And if
in
that
one
person
place.
passed away, don't get hurt from the grave because we're selling the home.
Exactly,
We're living off it.
it's something that happens with black people a lot, especially like businesses. It's like, oh, I work my whole life to create this business, and you guys want to go and do something different. It's like, yeah, sell the business. The business still worth something, and what it worth is worth more than you trying to give it to me to mess it up, because it wouldn't be the same.
It's things changing, like when we were talking about hip hop. Like things change, the generations change. What's good changes.
Exactly.
Barbering, what happens there? Like the styles, they change. So it's like you have to do what you have to do to kind of move ahead with things.
Yeah, it's understanding the market, And as I talk about the barbering, because what we were talking about earlier was me saying that, because you were talking about your son likes to come in for Savio.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Savio is one of the barbers in the barbershop for people who listening.
Yeah.
But and we were saying that that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of thinking about easing out of the barbering game, is because I feel like I'm getting old for it, and I could see the market shift. I could see the market like in Savio way more than me now, and it's like I remember when I was that young kid in the barber shop, right? And had that energy, and everybody be like, oh, I want Vaughn, and now you'll go on Instagram and you see all these people married and have jobs, and it's still cool because we still get to talk like how we talking here, but the glamour of it was different. Like being young in the barbershop, I think most kids should learn. I think the barbershop is the best place to learn every skill.
Or like serving.
Yeah,
like
or
in a
serving,
restaurant, or
bartending and that kind of stuff. Like, but when barbering, we had to learn like people skills. We had to learn like problem solving, dealing with angry customers, dealing with bad reviews. Everything that you had to deal with in the real world, we had to deal with.
Yeah.
And
Also,
one of the biggest things is understanding the market and where the market gonna go. So for these young guys, I see them having like the next 10, 12 years to milk the game. But for me, it's like, yeah, I could still stay and milk the game, but we're not gonna be grinding the same. I can't grind like you grind.
Yeah.
Like you could grind until from 9 till 5 the next morning and still wake up and come to work for 9. I can't do that no more.
Yeah.
So the game the sun's setting on me and rising on them, and it's something that you could see, and it's something that I try to train myself to always see like different, like when a market starting to change on you, and you could see you could see your fans is not your fans no more.
Yeah,
You know, and-
anything
yeah.
you do. I mean, the gym, like music, barbering, whatever it is, that you see it change. And I watch it at my age, the things change too. And I'm like, damn, I'm getting the OG
Yeah, we're not-
talk now. Like,
Yeah, they call me uncle now. It's like,
they
yo,
call me
uncle.
Unc now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no.
The other day I had money in my pocket and it fell on the floor.
Hmm.
And one of Savio's friends was like, hey, sir, I think you dropped money. I was like, yo, what you call me? You call me sir?
Yeah.
You know, and back in the day, you used to be the kid with all the promise, you know, like, oh, look at him. He has so much potential. Look at him walk.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, hi, grandpa, whatever it is, you know, and it's still cool, it's still rewarding, you know, because you see so much life, you know.
Yeah.
You see so much life, and then you see somebody younger than you doing it now, and you're like, oh, I remember how this used to feel, you know.
Yep.
And it is addictive, and that kind of stuff. And now it's more me finding out who I am as a dad and trying to figure out money and how money works. So I had this rule in my house now where we say that everything in your life should be employed. Like from your kids straight to your bank account. Everything should be working for you. And when I say that, I don't mean like your kids have a job. I mean like you had to have something that they do that everything must be beneficial.
Yeah, you got to learn something from it. Right?
Exactly, right? Everything must be
Have a
beneficial
positive
to you.
outcome. Yeah.
So like for me, my kids, they teach me patience and love.
And madness too.
Yeah, and how to deal with anger. So patience, you know. So and then for the money in my bank account, I pay it into mutual funds or
Let it work
stocks,
for you.
and try to make that work for me and try to build back, right? And then so that's the rule that we have now, and trying to understand money, coming from a place, from my mom understood money, but money in Trinidad was different to money here.
Same as Jamaica. Yeah.
Exactly, in terms of like the credits and the banks and what the banks could give you and stuff. But I see my mom do it. I see my mom do it from zero to become something.
Yeah.
To sending us to school in Canada, and that's something I was always fortunate and happy about. That she, like, my drive comes from her, but not everyone has that. Not everyone has that person to talk to
You have
about.
to teach them financial literacy. Financial literacy is something that it comes from family, wherever, or you just go get it if that's the type of person you are. But they're teaching it in schools now. They're starting to, which is good. I taught it 1 year because through the bank I work for, they do a program where you can go in and teach the youth about it. You go into like grade 7, 8 classes. You teach them simple things. Take 25% of what you make and put it in a savings account.
Yeah.
Simple stuff, right? And you give them exercises on building a business and things like that.
And
They need to
understanding
keep doing that.
and understanding the meaning of the word afford, because I feel like a lot of people don't understand the meaning of the word afford. They think to afford means that you have enough money in your bank account to buy it. But to me, that's not what
happens when you
afford
have
means.
no money
Right?
when you're done. You buy
Exactly.
the Jordans and you have the money,
But
no
I
money in
see
your account.
I see
anymore.
people having all the best brands and going on vacation, and I'm like, how you could afford these things, bro?
Mm-hmm.
How are you buying these things right now? That, like where you getting money that I don't
Spent
know?
my whole paycheck on it.
Yeah, you know, and it's like it different, but coming to the place of understanding to me worth way more, and seeing life in front of your eyes, and seeing me build something, and so much other people come from there, you know, and become something is one of the greatest, one of the best gifts that life could have ever given me, apart from my family, of course, and it's something that,
Helping.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You know, you're helping, you're doing this is helping people. You know, I'm doing what I do and it's helping people. And then you're teaching your kids. I teach my kids. My kids get to see me hustle, for lack of a better term, and just grind away to get what you want and work hard, right? You got to teach it, because I'm sorry to all the young people. Everybody's entitled right now. I didn't grow up entitled. You know, even my son to a degree, sometimes there's no desire to go and work hard and, you know.
No, Instagram made it like social
Go out and
media.
get a job, right? So people got to learn that, right?
Yeah. And more importantly, becoming a job, you know, like creating, like starting something from scratch and building it. You know, like I always try to teach my kids But like so, like my daughter right now, she's 10, and her project for the summer is that she needs to do a business plan, and it doesn't have to be a big business. It could even be a existing business, But she wanted to do a what do you call it, lemonade stand.
Lemonade stand,
And I said, okay, you could do a lemonade stand. So what you had to create a business plan for that. She's like, "Phone, I don't know what's a business plan." I was like, you have Google? She's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "So Google, what's a business plan?" She's like, "I don't know where to start." I was like, "Okay, Google it." She's like, "Oh, you could teach me." I was like, "I can't teach you.
You gotta do it. You learn by doing.
Yeah, you have to figure it out because you want to start a business. So that's your plan, to do a business plan."
Yeah.
And for my youngest daughter, she's 5. So now we have one like these TED Kid Talks YouTube and stuff. And her project is to create a plan for summer. So she doesn't have to create a business plan.
Just create what you're gonna do for the
Exactly.
summer.
Let's create a plan. Let's determine the things that you want to do.
It keeps their mind busy. It keeps them
Exactly.
working.
And working and that kind of stuff. So that's why I try to teach them.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Our brains it's a muscle, right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
no different than going to the gym, doing our thing, right? So,
And stretching the capabilities,
yeah.
Yeah.
I know right now I'm going to bed early these days because
Yeah, I be going to bed. I go be going to bed. Well, I be going to bed late. My early is like 12,
yeah, my early
31.
Yeah.
Because I stay up late editing and that kind of stuff, So I'm always working, bro. And that's why I suck so bad at responses on Instagram and that kind of stuff. I feel bad. But every time I remember to respond is when I'm doing something that's supposed to be doing. And then I'm like, okay, I will do it after done. And then when I'm done, by the time I remember, I'm doing it again. I'm like, oh, I need to.
I hear you on that though. I go to sleep late because I wait till everybody's go to sleep. I spend some time with my girl. I spend some time with the kids. They go to sleep, and that's like 10:30. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna spend 2 hours to myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm on the couch. I'm passed out, but
Yeah,
it's what it is. You need that. You need that rest. You got to take care of yourself. That's what's the gym and taking your time for me. Like that's my rest. So
At the gym?
yeah, the gym is the rest. If I can do it, I didn't get there today, so I was grumpy.
Yeah.
I was grumpy, so I'm going in the morning.
Actually, I actually went to the gym today. Like proper, like I went to the gym every day for the past couple of days, but mentally went to the gym today. Like I was mentally there because I had like a bad mental couple days, and it's something that I go through all the time. It's something that every dreamer goes through.
We all have anxiety.
Exactly. It's like you're not always 100. Most people think I'm always 100, but I'm not always 100. So the last couple of days it was pretty bad, and then I had a dream last night of these guys who back in the day was my friends, and then I realized it wasn't my friends.
Right.
And the guys back home, and they were having like a get together, and they was like laughing, And then I woke up and I was like, nah, and I went hard, And then I realized that I'm so motivated by negativity that I saw them laughing at me, and I was like, no, I can't allow somebody to laugh at me. I'm actually gonna die trying. That's why I have life insurance, bro. My plan, I already have my plan. If this don't work, I'm gonna die doing it.
Yeah,
and then my kids will still be good after when it's all said and done, right? So I have my life to live, and that's just where I'm at right now, bro. And me understanding those hard times is one of the biggest.
It's the biggest thing that makes things good for you later on, right? It's how you win.
Yeah.
You got to go through the worst to keep going. And I mean, we all have, right? So it's keeps you motivated. So, when I decided to do this, I was like, I'm not going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks anymore. Right? So what I got to do, it's not just hustling. It's do I want to do it? And I love it. Doing it, helping, whatever. And that's the best part. You just go. So my mind is exhausted now at the end of the day. Everyone's like, why are you so tired all of a sudden? It's like 9 o'clock. And I'm like, because my mind is always thinking and going.
Yeah.
So that's why when I don't get to the gym, that's my like hour and a half to just shut everything off. This goes on do not disturb. Don't bother me. I don't know you.
Yeah. And I didn't even get paid for this. So
that's what I'm saying. The passion of it. That's why it took me till I was 41, 42 years old to know it. But what can you say? There's lots of examples of that in the world where people started late. So
Yeah. So what do you think is the next steps for you?
just doing this until I'm in the grade, but loving it and helping. That's it. Learning. I learn every day, leveling up because there's different levels of what I do. So taking the next step in the next year and learning that next step so I can do more types of transactions with homes and stuff like that. And just building my brand, building a business,
Yeah. And where you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Ooh.
I know that's a hard question. That's
a big one. I'll be successful at this. I'm starting to get my. It started out as a little kind of snowball, and it's starting to go a little bit now. I'm just waiting for it to boulder, and I think that boulder's going to happen probably in the fall. I think it'll be a boulder, and then I just got to keep rolling and keep the pipeline going, right? So keep the business coming, keep the contacts coming. And when I go out and I do contacts and I might post something here or there or do something, it's not because I want business out of it. It's because I'm building a relationship.
Yeah.
I got into this conversation because I came in, got my beard trim out. My son comes in here, and this is what we're building now.
Yeah.
Just because of that, right? So it's just relationships. Relationships and getting in front of people is the best thing you can do. And if it's not authentic, then why bother?
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I started this too.
If I couldn't vibe with you, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, exactly.
I would not come.
Exactly. Yeah, because for me it was either do documentaries, and then it was I love to do documentaries only because I get to figure out so much about someone's life, And to me, it's interesting. To me, everyone's life is art.
Yeah.
Like everyone, like even people who don't appreciate their life, if you sit down and you talk to them, you could see so much art in their life, and you're like, you don't understand your character right now. Your character is such a compelling character because it fills us so much conflict.
Mm-hmm.
You had to try to figure out how to connect the conflict to who you are, and then you'll see where it's supposed to go, right?
It's a chapter.
Exactly.
Year.
Exactly.
Was it every day or every year is a chapter, however you want to call it?
Yeah.
Chapter 42, page, whatever day of the year this is, right?
Yeah.
So it's like sitting down and just chopping it up with people is the best thing. It's my favorite thing. And I think back to even when I was like in high school, we get together, whether you drink, whether you don't drink, whether you're sitting around and smoking, whatever it is, chopping it up is the best thing.
Yeah.
Because you just learn people, right?
Yeah.
That's how you build relationships.
It's different, but yeah, I think we touched on a lot today.
Yeah, I think we did. It was good.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Do it again sometime.
If anytime, bro, anytime. It was fun. And next time we come, hopefully we could talk about some more positive interest rates.
Hopefully we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got one coming in September, one in December, and we'll see.
Yeah. So where can people find you on like Instagram and stuff, right?
Yeah, they can find me at Sean Fennell Mortgages on Instagram and Facebook. And then, everything is here. I got a website and everything, but really, you just go look me up on Instagram, Sean Fennell Mortgages, and I'll be there. Work for Dominion Lending, so representing those guys.
Yeah.
Loving it. So, yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Reach out if you have questions. I'm happy to help.
That's good. Bro, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Respect.
Thanks for taking time. And as I said before, I know that today was kind of different because I know for some reason at 8 o'clock, at 7 o'clock, I was like, I didn't tell this guy a time. Let me call and see. So,
I chalked it up to just Caribbean people. I was like,
yeah, bro.
Busy, I'm like, do whatever we do, and
I'm like, I'm there making dinner for the kids, and I'm like, wait, did I tell him a time? I don't think I told him a time. Let me call
3
him.
o'clock today. I'm like, I didn't hear him. Like,
yeah,
he'll let me know.
Yeah, that. Trust me. I need to do better at taking charge of certain things, and it's things I see in my life. But again, thanks for still being considerate.
Yes.
Thanks for making the time. Yes. I know we're gonna have you on again, and yeah.
Big up, appreciate it, dog.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot, bro. Thanks. So again, this is episode 9 of Young and Gifted. It's been a nice run so far. Today we had Sean. We spoke about financial freedom and financial literacy. And it's something that we really it's something that we really hope it gets to people and that kind of stuff because it's something that's serious. And it's the only way that we could build generational wealth is through financial literacy. So thanks for taking the time to listen to the podcast today, and I'll see you guys next week for episode 10. Thank you. Okay. Blessings.
That's more fun than I thought.
Eh?
That's more fun than I thought.
Trust me, bro.